Okay, this is 4C and 4D. I'm going to try to squeeze them both into one video. Again, if I'm going too slow, feel free to speed up or just cut to the part that you want to. Um, Latin tends to be difficult, even for seniors, juniors. Sometimes it really requires a little bit of explanation. So I'd rather overdo it than underdo it. So let's look at what are called core elements. Complete. And again, sometimes I'll go through these a little bit more slowly, and sometimes it's expected. Well, it's always expected that you've read what you need to read. At least virtual high school students, that you have read what you need to read in order to be able to satisfactorily do these exercises on your own. But sometimes, if a concept is difficult, I will stop and sort of explain it a little bit. So hang with me here. Let's see. Core elements. So we know what parts of speech are, but there is a difference between parts of speech and core elements. Like a noun is a part of speech. A person, place, or thing is a noun or part of speech, but a noun can work in different ways in a sentence. A noun can function as a subject of a sentence, as it does here. Like Sextus is the subject of this verb here. Sextus falls. He's the one doing it, so he is the subject of the sentence. But a noun can also be what is called a complement here. Sextus is an annoying boy. Boy here is a noun as well, but it's functioning as a complement in this sentence, and I guess I can get to what a complement is in a minute. And also, Cornelia here is a noun as well, but she's functioning as what is called a direct object. So it's not enough to say whether a noun is just a noun. For core elements, identifying core elements, you really have to think about what that noun or what that verb is doing, or the adjective. I mean, how they're really functioning in a sentence. So there are a variety of different kinds of sentences, obviously, and I'll let you read this, but I'm going to cut to the exercise with the assumption that this has been looked over carefully, and you've learned about what an intransitive verb is versus a transitive verb is, what a complement is. I said I would say what a complement is. A complement is, I'm just going to put this in the middle here. Complement is a noun or an adjective, typically, that is joined to a subject by a linking verb. An example of this would be as follows. John is a student. Is a linking verb. It links this subject to this, which is called a complement. What is a complement? A complement completes or fills out or tells you more about what the subject is, what or who the subject is. Student and John are the same thing. So student completes the sense of what John is in this sentence. It's a very different thing to say John is a student and John hits a student, for example. In this sentence, we have subject, a linking verb for is, and then we have a complement. The complement tells us more about this subject. John is a student. But here we have a clear example of a subject, a transitive verb with hits, and a direct object. Here, John is not the student, but John is hitting, striking a student. So this transitive verb acts on this noun, this student. Here, John and the student are the same. Here, John hits another student. So there's a difference between a complement and a direct object. Now, a complement can also be an adjective. We can say John is lazy. Now, lazy is still telling us more about what John is. So again, it is completing or complementing the sense of what the subject is. So they can be adjectives or they can be nouns, these complements. I'm going to erase this now. You can always look at it again if you need to. Okay, so we'll start by looking at this sentence here. First, we'll identify the subject. The sentence says, again, the idea is to identify the core elements and then also to translate the sentence, right? So you're going to want to either put in parentheses. It's almost better if you can do what I'm doing here. Identify the elements like this. Now, vexat is a transitive verb. And then we have a direct object first, and then we have a subject, and then we have another transitive verb. Now, this sentence says Sextus often bothers or annoys Davos. Then we have Davos does not like or love, but love seems a little strong here, Sextus. We'll start with this. Now, don't worry about this just yet. Maybe you're confused. Why isn't this the subject and why isn't this the direct object? Because word order in English would suggest that that would be the case, but that's not it. Sextus often bothers Davos. Sextus is the subject. He's the one doing the bothering. And we do have a direct object, which you can identify by that M ending, as you can here as well. And since we do have a direct object, we say that that verb is a transitive verb, as I've said a couple times now in this video and the last one. So there's the answer for number one. Now again, just because a word comes first in Latin, in a Latin sentence, does not mean that it is the subject. This is the case for English, but not so in Latin. You identify words by their endings. You identify how they're functioning very often by their endings and not by their word order. So here, Davos, that is a subject ending, and this is a direct object ending. So even though the words are this way, we're going to say Davos is the subject, and he does not like Sextus. So it's a very similar situation to this first sentence. Subject, transitive verb, subject, transitive verb, and direct object. So that's number one. Number two, I'm going to leave a little more room here actually, yeah. This sentence says, the girls, that's a plural subject, catch sight of, or spot, or see, Marcus and a slave, or Marcus and the slave. So here we have a plural subject that is a subject ending, and we know that they're also the subject because this is plural and this verb is plural. These are singular direct objects, so let's get those put in. Direct object, and then this is another transitive verb. So here we'll say the girls. I'm going to say spot, but that also catch sight of Marcus and the slave. Subject, transitive verb, two direct objects. So there's your answers for number 1 and 2. Now, maybe some of you are saying, why'd you leave this out or leave this out? This is an adverb, as is this. So at this point, I don't think you're asked to identify adverbs, mainly just subjects, direct objects, complements, etc. In one of these sentences, there is a complement, at least one that I can see. So see if you can spot the complement in the remaining sentences there, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, I'm going to make a little room here, and we're going to move on to 4D. 4D is write in Latin. So we need to say Sextus is always annoying Cornelia. Now, is annoying is one verb. That is vexat. So don't let the fact that this adverb, don't let the fact that it breaks up this sort of helping verb, main verb arrangement here, don't let that throw you off again into thinking that this needs an est. It does not. Think of it as Sextus always is annoying Cornelia. So we're going to have a subject, sextus, he's doing the annoying, and then we'll throw the adverb in, sype, and then going with good. No, actually, no. I think we'll have the direct object first here. So Cornelia is the one receiving the action of this verb is annoying. So typically the word order for Latin goes subject, direct object, verb, and then any modifiers that come before the verb, like adverbs, can go right before. So we'll say sype vexat. Let's see if I can line that up a little bit better now. Sextus Corneliam sype vexat. Subject, direct object, adverb, and transitive verb. There's number one. Number two, identify the elements as you go through the sentence. It's always good. Read the whole thing and then think of how each thing is going to be said. Now, Cornelia is obviously just Cornelia. So we're going to write her in there. Is tired and is sleeping under a tree. Now, here's an example of how you do need a linking verb. And here's an example of how is not a linking verb. It is a helping verb. So Cornelia is tired. This is exactly like this here, where you have a complement. Tired is a complement for Cornelia that is joined to Cornelia by this linking verb. So here we do need est. Tired is an adjective. It's a different thing to say is tired, which is a linking verb and an adjective, and is sleeping, which is really a helping verb with a verb, and that's done with one verb in Latin there. So here we'll say Cornelia est defessa et sub arbore is under a tree, and then we say dormit. So again, we don't need est dormit. We don't need is sleep. Well, we do need is sleeping, but we say that just with the dormit. Est not there. Est for linking verbs to a complement, but not like this. That's bad Latin right there. Okay, so that's number 1 and 2. I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna let you work on 3, 4, and 5, and that'll be it for chapter 4. I wish you all the best of luck.